Hello and welcome to Aviadev Insight Africa, the podcast offering a window to the world of African aviation with your host, John Howell, CEO and founder of Aviadev Africa. In just 3 weeks, the African aviation industry will convene in Nairobi, Kenya for Aviadev Africa, and that's where you find us today in Nairobi. We're here to talk about a true African success story. It's fair to say that DPO Pay has played a vital role in changing the payments landscape across Africa. And today we're going to discover how DPO supports its airline customers and the general public too, to make payments securely and easily. And to do that, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Judy Waruiru, the Managing Director of DPO Pay. So Judy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, John. It's really a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you with us, and obviously you'll be with us for the event itself in a couple of weeks' time as well. So for those of our listeners who haven't met you yet, you're obviously now working within the payments space, but prior to this, you had many years in the aviation industry. So can you enlighten our listeners as to your aviation journey to this point?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I grew up career-wise in the airline industry. I started off as KQ at Kenya Airways here in Nairobi. Joined the e-commerce department. We set it up, built a website that could receive payments. At the time, it was just cards. That was 201. There was no M-Pesa at the time. Then I moved into media briefly, worked for the Nation Media Group, and back again to the airline industry. And this time I joined Qatar Airways. I was based in Doha, where we built the Qatar Airways website, a big mega project that included setting up 42 websites in 8 languages, having a booking engine and different payment options. So payments for me, I was introduced into digital payments in the airline industry. So it's not very new to me in my new role. And I moved on to head Africa in the digital space at Qatar Airways, looking after 13 markets, where I was tasked with changing customer behavior to buy online instead of the traditional channels. So in a short brief, that has been my growth in the airline industry. And then I discovered payments and DPO.
Yeah, so the payment side's always been there and the tech side of it as well, because obviously what you were doing at KQ all those years ago, the technology has come on leaps and bounds, and we'll get into how that looks. And now, of course, with that airline experience and with the payments experience as well, you find yourself leading DPO Pay Africa, which has obviously become a really strong brand over the last few years, but it's accelerated, I think, the last 5-6 years as a business. So again, tell us a little bit more about DPO, how it's evolved following the relatively recent acquisition by an international payments provider. What's that done to the business and where's the focus right now?
Yeah. Thanks, John. So just a bit of introduction to DPO. DPO was founded in 2006 in Nairobi, Kenya. Our first client was actually an airline. Our foundation is airlines. So the company was founded to do payments, and we offered payment options mostly to airlines at the time. Today, we are connected to 22 mobile wallets, 52 plus banks across 21 countries in Africa. So we are a payments company, offers local payment options in Africa. So in 2021, as you mentioned, we were acquired by Network International, based in Dubai, a London Stock Exchange listed company. And being part of a globally recognized business, this has helped us drive payments agenda in the region, delivering cutting-edge solutions to businesses and merchants across this market. So we are able to expand and we are able to deliver new products and new technology.
Yeah, and it's really, as you were saying before, it's changed the behavior. You were tasked when you were working at the airlines with trying to change passenger behavior and customer behavior, whereas in the past, I suppose, they'd go to a travel agent and pay them cash and get their ticket. And you're saying, look, you can digitize this. And the benefits to the airlines is you cut out that middleman and the money gets there quicker, etc. So let's dive a bit deeper into how DPO works with its airline customers and its airline partners. Because, of course, first thing to say is you work with airlines of all shapes and sizes across Africa. It doesn't matter on the scale of the airline itself. But what solutions do you offer specifically to those airline customers? And what issues did you set out to resolve when you came in?
Yeah, so back in 2006, I think that was when M-Pesa was introduced into Kenya market. So most of the airlines had booking engines, but when checkout, you had to go pay at an office. So there was no seamless checkout with e-ticketing support and all that. DPO filled in that space. We were able to integrate with different booking engines. And when a customer bought a ticket, they received an e-ticket on their email. So we made it seamless and very easy to buy tickets. We also offered local payment options. So if you didn't have a card, you could use any of the mobile wallet available in your country. And that way, we have also grown not just for supporting the booking engines, but we support multiple channels, sales channels for airlines, whether it's agency bookings through the BSP. We're able to also support direct channels. These are the city ticketing offices or at the airport. So our solution cuts across all the channels, distribution channels for the airline. And we are also protect the airline on the fraud solutions. So we have a state-of-the-art fraud solution that protects the airline, where our fraud rate in the airline industry is around 0.2%, whereas the industry standard is 2%. So you can see we are able to protect airlines from fraud because we not only have the technology, but we also have manpower who works 24/7. And these are skilled people in the fraud and risk and data and protection.
Yeah, I think that the fraud topic is one that's really interesting to pick up on because, of course, like you say, industry standard 2%, but 2% of a huge industry is a huge amount of money. In that respect, like you explained that, how big the issue is, but how does your solution reduce the impact? And what's the potential risk for an airline if there is fraud? Are they exposed to the risk and the losses? Also the customers as well. How is that evolving and how are you doing it? How are you preventing the fraud?
Yeah, as mentioned, we have a tool that we have used since dating back to 2006. So we've collected quite a lot of data across various airlines, and not just airlines. We process for hotels, we have processed for different companies in the tourism industry. So what you find is the fraud patterns are more or less similar. So if you're able to block one fraud attack, for example, in a hotel, then you'll see these perpetrators moving to an airline X, to airline Y, same behavior. So we are able to collect this kind of data and we're able to protect the airlines. And this is data collected within the African market. So whether you use card, then you shift to mobile, we're still able to track the same fraudulent customer, whether it's through your IP, device ID, or whatever it is. So those are some of the tools we use. And yes, as you mentioned, fraud is very expensive for the thin airline margins, so they can't afford to be losing money. So one of the things, our benefit or the value proposition we offer airline is the fact that we're able to protect them, whether it's across any of their channels. So if we find a fraud in the booking engine, then that means we stop it from perpetrating into the ticketing offices or any of their channels. So that's basically our strong proposition that we offer airlines and protect them in terms of fraud. Also, in terms of reputation, the kind of fraud you find in airlines is where a fraudulent or fraudster wants to buy tickets and then resell them in a different market at a lower rate so that they earn some money. And so they're not usually the ones flying, they're buying for somebody else to fly. And then they'll sell that ticket outside the space. So we're able to catch that kind of fraud by interacting also with the airline. So at check-in desks, we tell them you need to do some verification, whether it's ID vis-a-vis the card that we used to pay. So there's quite a lot of checks that we help the airline do at the point where they interact with the passenger that is flying. So we're able to protect the airline, the reputation, and also from loss in terms of revenue.
Yeah, that's a really comprehensive overview of what's going on. It's such a big issue. It's not the most exciting thing to talk about, but 2% globally is just massive. That sort of blows my mind. And to mitigate that in any way, like you say, when the profit margins are so razor thin in the industry, it makes a lot of sense. And the other thing that obviously DPO allows you to do is to pay in different ways. This is how it started, right? Was the M-Pesa side of it coming in, but you accept payment in all sorts of different methods now. Is that kind of how it works? Make it easy for the customer to transact with the airline?
Yeah, so DPO is present in 21 markets. And in each of these markets, we support the local currency. So if you're in Zambia, you can pay the kwacha or USD or Euro or GBP. You can pay with your wallet, mobile wallet. In Zambia, we have the MTN. Zambia or Tel Money in Zambia. The same thing in Uganda, the same thing you go to Botswana. So we are able to offer localized payments, which make it easier for the customer to pay and choose the different payment option seamlessly, buying their own ticket and making the experience very friendly to the end customer who's buying a ticket.
And I'm guessing the airline then gets to choose how it receives that as well. So you're processing it and then it says, I want USD or I want GBP or whatever it may be.
Correct. To date, we process 33 currencies, local, and that's soft currencies. And we can settle the airline in their selected option where they want to be settled, whether it's Europe, whether it's Africa. We're able to settle them at their preferred bank accounts and their preferred currencies. Yes, we are able to offer that solution.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, so let's change gear a little bit and let's look ahead towards AviaDev itself, because you're actually going to do us the honor of joining our technology panel at the event itself. And we've got a real variety of tech providers. So I'd recommend everybody goes to the website and has a look at the sessions we've got planned. Obviously, aviation and technology are both traditionally incredibly male-dominated industries. There's no other way of putting it. Are you confident that's changing? Are you seeing a different attitude to when you started out? And what's informing that shift? How do we speed up that process?
Yeah, it's interesting you ask that. Very true. The industries I have been, aviation and tech, are very male dominated. Very many situations I found myself as the single female in the room in a meeting. But I'm seeing that changing. And we have the likes of Yvonne McCullough, the CEO of Rwanda, leading an airline in Africa, first woman to serve as the chairman of the IATA Board of Governors. We all have Jennifer Bamutaruki, CEO of Uganda Airlines. So as you can see, right here in Africa, in East Africa, we have women CEOs leading airlines. To go into the tech space, right here in Kenya, we have Phyllis Megwe, who was appointed MD for Microsoft. We have Agnes Gadea leading Google in East Africa. So the landscape is changing. More and more women are taking over in the leadership positions. And I think this is a good sign in terms of gender equality in such senior position and board positions, to mention a few.
No, it 100% is. And it's something that we're a big supporter of as well. But we want to do it the right way and just make sure that there's equal opportunities for everybody and that everybody's got that voice. No, thank you for sharing that with us. And let's talk about AviaDev itself. What are you looking forward to at AviaDev, and what can the delegates that are attending expect from the DPO team that are going to be on site? What sort of activities, what sort of things are you going to be doing at the event?
Yeah, we're very excited to be part of AviaDev. I think we have a history and we've always attended the AviaDev conferences. And this time it's in Nairobi, where we are headquartered. So definitely looking forward to interacting with our customers. We are expecting to meet our airline customers at the conference, definitely learning a lot from the industry trends. Considering, I think, the speakers on the lineup, quite an interesting topics in the airline industry. And also at our stand, we'll be showcasing our products. We'll have demos on what we do for airlines. We'll have an interactive session and some very interesting giveaways.
Oh, great. You're leaving us hanging with interesting giveaways. No specifics. I like that. That's good. Yes. And I think you can probably show some of the dashboards as well, because I was lucky enough to visit the office when I was there in January, and I was amazed by, it was like a NASA sort of space control with all these dashboards and all these things going on. So it was real-time monitoring of what's going on. And I think you're going to showcase that as well through the exhibition space.
Yes, definitely. We'll do have demos. And part of the demos is just to show how we do our fraud protection, how we monitor fraud real time when transactions are coming through, and how we're able to pick any trends that seem fraudulent immediately. Yeah, definitely to be quite an interesting and exciting platform to be.
Perfect. I'm sure the airlines listening will be keen to see that. Obviously, many are your customers already, but hopefully many more will be over the next few weeks and months. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing you and the team and being back in magical Kenya myself. Thank you so much for your time today, Judy. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much, John, and welcome back to Kenya.
Asante sana. Thank you so much. Yes, for those of you listening now, if you want to find out more, there is a link to the DPO Pay website in the show notes. You can also follow or connect with Judy through LinkedIn as well. I'll put a link there too, and also to the DPO Pay page as well. So if you did enjoy this episode, do hit that share button now. Share it with somebody in your network you think would benefit from having a listen. And until we see you for the next episode, all the best, take care, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.